Alright guys, should you summon for Luocha? We're going to talk about that in today's video, guys. I made a video a couple days ago basically talking about the reasons you should skip Luocha and maybe wait for other characters coming to the game like Kafka and Blade and maybe a Kafka Fu Xuan coming to the game soon. But yeah, guys, we're gonna talk about today all the reasons you should maybe summon for Luocha and talk about his banner and everything like that. So guys, hopping into Luocha first, we're gonna talk about his skill, ultimate talent, as well as everyone on the banner, their skills, ultimate talents, and so on and so forth, everything like that. So guys, let's go ahead and talk about Luocha here first. The 5-star on the banner, the one probably most people care about, so if you just want to watch this part, you only have to watch this part, you don't have to watch me talk about the other 4 stars on the banner. So guys, as far as what his skill does, he'll basically be restoring the HP of one ally that you pick. He also gains 1 stack of Abyss Flower, which this plays into his talent, which I'll talk about in a second here. Also, when an ally's HP drops below 50%, this is going to automatically activate a skill without consuming a skill point and heal that ally up. This can only be triggered once every 2 turns. This is really cracked, guys. The best way I can describe how this works, guys, is if you're playing with Natasha and she drops below 30% HP and she automatically heals herself, it kind of works like that, but for the whole team, and if they drop below 50% HP, which is a lot better threshold, because if you're low enough to drop to about 30% HP, they could probably kill you. So this is really good here, guys. As far as what the ultimate does, the ultimate's honestly really cracked, guys. It's going to be removing 1 buff from all enemies and be dealing imaginary damage to all enemies as well. He'll be gaining 1 stack of Abyss Flower whenever he activates his ability. Yet guys, removing a buff from all enemies is super good. Like, imagine like the guy that summons in all those little mobs and he sucks them up and then he takes their power and stuff like that, or even like the robot boss that like powers himself up and gives himself a huge attack buff and charging buff or whatever. This will just remove all of that. This just makes the gameplay, I think, a lot easier, especially with his ultimate actually dealing damage to the enemies and also playing into healing your team and the talent, which we'll talk about next. Yeah, guys, his ultimate is really strong. Removing buffs is super big. And then finally, guys, Cycle of Life, the talent. When the Abyss Flower reaches 2 stacks, he'll be consuming all stacks and deploying a field against the enemy. Basically, what this field does, guys, is going to be lasting for 2 turns, and whenever your allies attack an enemy, they will be receiving healing back. It's kind of like a lifesteal, right? You attack the enemy, deal damage to the enemy, you'll be getting HP back equal to Luocha's attack. So that kind of also tells us how to build him too. We're probably going to want to build him in some type of like attack stat capacity to really maximize the healing that he's doing. This is really good. This is just passive healing for the whole team. This is like a more cracked power crept version of Bailu's like ability whenever she uses her ult, her Invigorate, which only takes a place if your ally is hit. This is going to be taking place whenever your allies are attacking. This means you're getting a lot more healing out because you don't know if your allies are going to get attacked. This applies healing more broadly for the whole team, and I think it's just better all around to have this sort of healing, and it's kind of sad to see that Bailu's already got power crept as well. So guys, my final thoughts on like why you should pull for Luocha. Guys, if you don't have 2 healers already, this is going to be a great option. Even if you do have 2 healers, guys, I think this could either replace your Natasha or even your Bailu. Honestly, this is really cracked. The ability to remove buffs from all enemies, deal imaginary damage on top of this, because as of right now in the game, all we have is Welt. When this update comes out, Luocha and Yukong as far as dealing imaginary damage, which none right now are free to play. Of course, in 1.2, we're getting a free Yukong, but this could be the key to beating a lot of the events in the game, especially Memory of Chaos right now with every enemy being weak to imaginary damage. This could help you a lot as far as clearing this Memory of Chaos that we're in right now. Yeah, guys, so this is just super good. I mean, imaginary damage, that alone could also be a reason to pull for this character, guys. So, I mean, as far as my thoughts wrapped up into, like, maybe, like, a short little dialogue here, he looks to be, like, a great healer, gives passive healing, and deals damage on top of this with imaginary damage, removes buffs, so he's just really cracked, really freaking good. So, guys, let's go ahead and talk about his whole banner now, that being Yukong, Pela, and QQ. Starting off with QQ first, guys, I think QQ is not the best one on the banner, but I do believe QQ actually has quite a bit of value and can also add quite a bit of value to your account, especially if you didn't pull for Zila or Silverwolf, because this is going to let you have quantum damage. You already get 1 for free when playing through the game, so you could get the Eidolons, and honestly what her Eidolons do are pretty nice for her kit. Basically, her whole kit is based off of RNG and drawing tiles. As far as what her Eidolons do, her Eidolons make you have an increased chance of pulling these tiles, guys. So let's go ahead and talk about her skill first. Basically, whenever you use the skill, she's going to immediately draw 2 tiles and deal a certain amount of damage and increase your damage by a certain percentage. This can stack up to 4 times. Basically, you keep drawing tiles until you get 4 tiles of the same suit in your hand. Her ultimate is going to be dealing damage to all enemies, and you automatically get 4 Jade tiles of the same suit, so you're getting the DPS buff there. And then finally, Celestial Jade, guys. At the start of the turn, QQ randomly draws 1 tile from 3 different suits and holds up to 4 tiles at one time. If she starts her turn with 4 tiles of the same suit, she consumes all the tiles to enter hidden hand. Basically, this is going to enhance her basic attack to do a lot more damage. And talking about her eidolons now, so you'll already have one of her for free while playing through the game. So her first E1 will get you increased damage, which is alright. Her E6 will give her 1 extra skill point, and her E2 will give her energy whenever she's drawing tiles. So this just helps her get her ultimate up really fast. Her ultimate cost is kind of high though. I think it's like a 120, 130 ultimate cost. So yeah, it's kind of down bad as far as what her ultimate costs. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think she is the worst on the banner, but I mean, if you get her, you'll definitely be helping her out in the long run. Hopping into Pela. Pela is just crack, guys. I think everyone knows this by now. Pela can remove buffs from enemy with her skill. She'll also be dealing ice damage to all enemies and exposing them whenever you use your ultimate. And when the enemies are exposed, it's going to be reducing their defense by 30% for 2 turns. This is just really strong, guys. You're getting defense shred on the enemies, which means you're hitting a lot more damage on these enemies. You're also attacking all enemies, so if they're weak to frost damage, you're going to be shield breaking all these enemies as well. Her talent, guys, is if she attacks an enemy that's debuffed, she'll be restoring additional energy. With this too, guys, if you're using the free-to-play light cone that we got during the Silver Wolf event, this will also be getting her more energy as well. So this just makes her ultimate not very hard to get, and you could probably get this ultimate up probably once every 2 to 3 turns, depending on if you have a link rope chain of energy recharge. So yeah, guys, overall, Pela's really cracked. Her eidolons are good too. At E1 is going to be giving her 5 energy whenever she defeats an enemy. At E2, whenever she removes a buff, she'll be increasing her own speed. At E4, whenever a skill is used, there's a 100% base chance to reduce the target's enemy resistance by 12% for 2 turns. And at E6, when Pela attacks a debuffed enemy, she deals additional ice damage of her own attack to the enemy. So yeah, it's just overall her eidolons are really good, guys, and I don't think I really need to explain too much on why Pela is so good. She's really good. The only thing I can say, guys, is if you're going into this banner just wanting a Pela, don't chase 4 stars, guys. It is a really treacherous path. Ask my E8 Don Hung and my E2 or E3 Asta that I went 100 pulls into the banner for and got 8 Don Hungs, 2 Servals, and 1 Asta. So yeah, don't go chasing 4 stars, guys. It's down bad. And finally, guys, Yukong, a Harmony Imaginary unit. Yeah, guys, we're getting 2 imaginary units in the same banner, and this is just really good value. But let's go ahead and talk about her skills first, guys. Her skill is going to basically give you 2 stacks of Roaring Bowstring, and what this does is whenever you have this active, is going to be increasing the attack of all allies by 40%. And every time an ally ends their turn, is going to be reducing one of these stacks, guys. So basically, for the next 2 attacks, you have a 40% attack increase, which is just really crazy. But this does kind of feed into her ultimate, which we'll talk about now, is if these Roaring Bowstrings are active, whenever she uses the ultimate, she's going to be increasing all allies' crit rate by 21% and crit damage by 39%. At the same time, she'll be dealing imaginary damage to a single target. Now, guys, you do have to kind of line her up with your allies, because you're only going to be getting this crit rate and crit damage bonus whenever your allies are lined up for attack. So I can see this being really good for a lot of the hunt characters, and using her on the hunt type teams, and using Ting Yun on like a Jingyuan team or something like that, or honestly using both of these on the same team. I think it'd be really cracked, really crazy to see the teams that are made with her. Yeah, really cracked, really good. She is bussin'. And then finally, guys, her talent, she'll be dealing imaginary damage to an enemy, and every other turn she'll be increasing the toughness reducing damage by this attack by 100%. So that means basically every other turn, guys, she'll be reducing the toughness of the enemy even more from using her attack. Keep in mind, guys, all the stats for Yukong and Luocha are subject to change whenever they actually come out. So guys, things could change before Luocha comes out. This is just based off all the information that I currently have a week before they come out. So yeah, talking about some of her eidolons now, guys, and why you might want to get dupes of her is at the start of battle, you'll be increasing the speed of all allies by 10% for 2 turns. This can help a lot of characters out, make them go faster, make them go in front of the enemy, because when you get to MOC at like the last levels of Memory of Chaos, good luck, them boys are fast. E2 is when an ally's current energy is equal to its energy limit. Yukong regenerates additional 5 energy. This can only be triggered once for each ally, and it's reset after she casts her ultimate. This means you can get 15 energy back just by your allies having their ultimates. This is, I don't think I need to explain why this is so good. She gets her ultimate back up very fast if you have E2. E4 is when roaring bowstrings are active, she'll be doing 30% more damage to enemies, and E6 is whenever she uses her ultimate, she'll be gaining 1 stack of roaring bowstring. So guys, she's just basically keeping the buff up more with her E6. E4 is going to be just doing more damage on the enemies. I think the strongest ones are probably E1, E2, so this is really, really good considering we get 1 free Yukong in 1.2. So that means if you pull a Yukong in the banner, or pull 2 Yukongs in the banner when you're pulling for your Luocha, that means you can stop really at E1 if you wanted to and just get E2 for free whenever she comes out. You don't have to pull as much for her, which is really, really nice to see that we're getting her for free. So guys, if you want my honest thoughts on all of this, guys, honestly, I know I said in the last video that it's not too good value if you have 2 healers and you're free to play. That is a very circumstantial point to be made. What I mean by that is it's very circumstantial why this wouldn't. I think this banner is really good, honestly. You get Yukong, you get Pela, you get Luocha, and QQ. As far as why the banner is good, you're getting 2 imaginary type characters in the banner, and you're also getting 1 quantum character in the banner, which is really nice considering there's only, what, 2-3 quantum characters in the game, and after this there'll be 3 imaginary characters in the game, which is just really good for like dealing damage on enemies that are both of those types. So yeah, guys, I mean, for that reason alone, I think is a pretty good reason to summon on this banner, guys. Pela is just really cracked, and I think the rise of Anhility is going to be really, really strong, especially when Kafka comes out. So this could set you up nicely whenever Kafka comes out, having a Pela on your team. And then of course Yukong as well. She's probably going to be the second best buffer in the game, second to Ting Yun, or the best buffer in the game if I'm keeping it a stack with you guys. That increased crit rate and crit damage at level 1 is going to be fucking insane, guys. Keep in mind, her crit rate is 21% and crit damage at 39% increase at a level 1 of her skill. This will only go up the more you upgrade. At max, guys, if you don't have any eidolons, she'll be getting 72% extra crit damage and 30% crit rate, which is insane. So yeah, guys, overall, I think the banner could be really good to summon on, especially if you don't have 2 healers, because he'll be providing like a full team heal basically all the time. He'll be doing imaginary damage, and he'll be removing buffs from all enemies, attacking all enemies and stuff like that. I think Luocha is just a really good character all around. I think he'll be a game changer, and I do think he'll stay at the top spot of abundance for a while. So yeah, guys, those are my reasons on why you should summon on this banner. I think the typing that the banner gives you is really, really good. That being imaginary, ice, and quantum, being some of the best types in the game, or some of the most sought after types in the game, because there's not really many of the imaginary and quantum units, and ice is probably just the best like debuff you can have in the game right now. So yeah, guys, that's my reasons on why you should summon. Let me know in the comments below of why you maybe shouldn't summon, or why I'm wrong, and I'll make sure I call you out if you're a Ginshitter. So yeah, anyways, guys, have a good one. I'm being for real. We'll leave your comments in the description below, or whatever it's called, the comment section. Anyways, subscribe for build guide videos and stuff like that, because we will have build guides on all of these characters whenever I get them. So yeah, anyways, that's gonna do it for today's video. Hope everyone enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one later. Bye-bye.